Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to learn algebra. Today is our lesson number 47. The problem for today is already on the blackboard. Right now we are learning how to add and subtract, algebraic expressions. In the first 20 days of the course, we learn how to evaluate algebraic expressions. And from day number 21 through 50, we'll be learning how to add and subtract algebraic expressions. Problem is already on the blackboard, as I said. We are given an expression on the top, which is 2/5 a cubed minus b cubed plus 1/3 c cubed. And from that, or rather, we have to subtract that expression. Okay, you have to be careful as to what you're subtracting from and what is being subtracted. I just made a mistake. This is the quantity that is being subtracted. What we are asked to subtract from is this expression, which is 1/4 a cubed plus 1/3 b cubed minus 1/4 c cubed. Let's get going then. As always, I remind you that when we are asked to subtract 12 from 5, even though 5 appears on the bottom, we know better than that to realize that when we are asked to subtract 2 from 5 has to go on the top. The exact same logic applies here, because these algebraic expressions are nothing more than some numerical values, some numerical quantities. They are numerical quantities because we do not know the values of A, B and C, but there exists some value, and as soon as we are told the values of the variable A and the variable B and variable C, this whole expression can be evaluated into some numerical quantity, which is what we did in the first 20 days, learning how to evaluate algebraic expressions. So this is some numerical value, and so is this. So we are asked to subtract one numerical value from the other, and this is what we do. The quantity that is being subtracted has to go on the bottom, and the quantity that we're subtracting from, in this case this expression, has to go on the top. So we have 1/4 a cubed plus 1/3 b cubed minus 1/4 c cubed. And from this quantity, from this expression, we are asked to subtract this quantity, 2/5 a cubed minus b cubed plus 1/3 c cubed. This has a positive sign in front of it, this has a positive sign. The very first thing, now that we have lined up all the like terms together, all the a cubes are lined up, all the b cubes are lined up, and all the c cubes are lined up. In other words, we're not trying to add a cubed to b cubed. We are adding the like terms. Now that everything is lined up properly, the next thing we have to remember is to flip all the signs of the bottom expression. This positive will become negative, this negative will become positive, this positive will become negative. And you will see the reason behind that in a second. I need the room, so I'm going to erase this top part. We no longer need it, and I don't want to continue the bottom here. So all we have to do at this point is to add up the coefficient. Add up the coefficient of A's, add up the coefficient of B's, add up the coefficient of C's, and that's all. We're going to do it on the top. We're going to do them one by one. Let's first do the coefficient of A. So here we are being asked to subtract 2/5. We have positive 1/4, and we are asked to subtract positive 2/5. But as you can see, we are asked to subtract positive 2/5. Therefore, this positive times negative becomes negative right here. That's what we're showing here. So this negative times positive is going to become negative. Inside sign was positive. By the time we multiply it by negative, it becomes negative. The common denominator here would be 20. Common denominator of 4 and 5 will be 20. Well, it could be 20 million. But traditionally we take the least. The least common denominator is called LCD. The least common denominator here is 20. How do we convert this denominator of 4 into 20? By multiplying it by top and the bottom by 5. How do you convert this denominator of 5 into a 20? By multiplying top and the bottom by 4. Basically, we're taking each of these fractions and multiplying it by 1. 5/5 is 1, incognito, in disguise. If you still do not know the word, learn it. Incognito. Just type in Keshwani Prep -vocab -day 42 and you will learn this vocabulary word, incognito. If you also want to learn geometry, Just like you're watching this algebra video right now, I also have geometry videos on the YouTube, and you can learn geometry as well, in addition to vocabulary videos and several other videos. You'll find them on the channel. Anyway, let's add them up. So now we have a common denominator of 20. 5 times 1 is 5, minus, see, negative times positive is negative, minus 2 times 4 is 8. So 5 minus 8 is negative 3 over 20. Negative 3 over 20, that goes here. Negative 3 over 20 a cubed. Now the question is, why did this quantity turn out to be negative? Any idea? Why did this quantity turn out to be negative? I'm going to erase this thing here. I need the room, so I need to erase it. My question is, why is this answer negative? Because we have 1/4, and from that we are subtracting 2/5. How much is 1/4 of a dollar? 1/4 of a dollar is 25 cents. How much is 2/5 of a dollar? A fifth of a dollar is 20 cents. Therefore, 2/5 of $1 would be 40 cents. So if you have 25 and you subtract 40 from it, of course you're going to get negative 15. Negative 15 over 100, which is what this is. This is negative 15 over 100 incognito. See, the difference is 15. Negative 15 over 100, because we're doing in terms of money. We're doing in terms of cents. How is this negative 15 over 100 incognito? Well, I can show it to you. Negative 3 over 20, if you were to multiply the top and the bottom by 5, 3 times 5 is 15, and 20 times 5 is 200. There you go. This negative 3 over 20 is incognito is 15 over 100. You see? In other words, if you want to put it in a more intuitive manner, in a more intuitive manner, more simplistic term is that, if you want to put it in a more simplistic term, is that if I owed you 40 cents, and I have $1 in my hand, and if you take the dollar from me, I will still end up owing you 15 cents. A quarter minus 40 cents is a negative 15 cents. Negative 15 over 20. So we're done with the coefficient of a cubed. Let's do the coefficient of b cubed. For the b cubed, we have 1/3, positive 1/3, minus a negative 1. Minus a negative 1. Watch what happens here. This negative times negative becomes positive. So in essence, it is 1/3 plus 1, which is exactly what we're doing here. This negative becomes positive. And all we end up is 1/3 plus 1. Since it didn't have coefficient in front of it, it's 1. So it's basically 1/3 plus 1. Well, 1/3 plus 1 is 1 and 1/3. 1 and 1/3 b cubed. 1 and 1/3 b cubed. And if you do not like 1 and 1/3, we could have written it as 4 and thirds b cubed. 4 thirds b cubed is same as 1 and 1/3. Because 3/3 make 1, and another third will give you 1 and 1/3. So that's it. We're done with the coefficient of b cubed. Let's move on to c. We have negative 1/4. We have negative 1/4, and from that we are asked to subtract positive 1/3. Well, negative times positive will become negative, which is what we're showing here. Positive becomes negative. And again, we have to find the common denominator. The common denominator of 4 and the 12, or 4 and the 3, the least common denominator that is 12. How do we convert this denominator of 4 into 12? Multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 3 over 3. How do we convert this denominator into 12? Multiply the top and the bottom by 4. Now we have a denominator of 12. And here we have 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. And here we have, and here we have 1 times 4, a negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. We get a negative 7 over 12. Negative 7 over 12. C cubed. There you go, that's it, that's your answer. That's how we have to do it. So there are some things you have to keep in mind when we are adding or subtracting one algebraic expression from the other. First thing is that you have to line up all the like terms. All the like terms have to line up. All the a cubed have to be lined up. All the b cubed has to be lined up, and all the c cubed have to be lined up. And then we have to remember to flip the signs of all the coefficient of the expression that is being subtracted. We are subtracting this bottom expression, therefore all the coefficients, their signs will have to be flipped. Positive will become negative and negative will become positive. And then finally, you simply add up the coefficient, that's it. By finding the common denominator, just like you will add up any two fractions. That's it. That was the end of our lesson for today. I will see you tomorrow on day number, today is day number 47. I never changed the number. Today is our day number 47. We have 3 more days to go, 48, 49 and 50. And after those 3 days, we're going to move on to a new topic where we're going to learn how to multiply and divide algebraic expressions. Right now we're learning how to add and subtract algebraic expressions. Then we move on to learning how to multiply and divide. And this 70 might turn into an 80. We'll see, this is just a tentative schedule. I do not know how the things are going to pan out. We will only know it when we get to it, okay? I'll see you tomorrow, okay?